my doula bag video just because I think it's interesting to see what different doulas have. I tend to have a lot of things, although I don't use a lot of things in birth. And a lot of things in my doula bag are actually, I would probably say, more useful when we do prenatal visits. So I'll just kind of show you what I have and tell you when I typically use them. This is my doula bag. I like it because I can wear it on my back, and then I have my hands free to do whatever I need to do when we get where we're going. You know, if I need to massage mom as we're walking in a hospital, or carry her stuff so that her and dad can do their thing, it just gives me a lot more mobility. So backpack is the way to go for me. So I'll start with the big pocket here. And I had a prenatal a few days ago, so it's still packed up from then. But I have two of these. These are called Bozos. And I'll show you the smaller one just because it's going to be easier to unravel. But a Bozo is just like, it's a Mexican shawl. And it has these little like stringy things on the end. And we use this for all sorts of different things in labor. One of my very favorite things that I've used it for so far is tying a knot at one end, and while mom's pushing, let her hold it, and then have somebody hold the other end and play tug of war with her while she's pushing. One birth I went to, it was a mother and daughter who did it. One birth I went to, I got to be the one to pull it. So, and the moms who have pushed that way have said it's been very helpful. There are a lot of other things you can do with your Bozo, but I'm just going to basically show you what I have and not go over everything too much. My other Bozo is way longer. This is good for tying like over a door so that mom can have something to kind of hang on to if she wants an assisted squat. It's also good for like stretching the back. I've had dads, when I've hung it over a door, I've had dads kind of climb into it and stretch their arms out and things like that. So the longer one is mostly only for hanging from, if we can find a structure to rig it up to. So maybe over a squat bar or over a hospital bathroom door or something like that. I do labor at home with families, so I do have an emergency birth kit. It has anything I would need in the case of an emergency delivery, but I really would rather not ever have to use this. It's just something I have just in case, since I do labor at home with parents, but so far it's never been opened, so that's good. I have one of these little back massagers. I got this at the dollar store, and they're exactly the same as, they sell these like almost like every grocery store anywhere, so, but the dollar store has them for $1, so. And it's easy to clean. My daughter is right here playing in a box of rice. If you hear some, you want this? Yes. There you go. If you hear some sprinkles and stuff, she's right here playing. Here's a little book I have called Labor Lab. It has different positions and it kind of explains some things. This is good if I'm trying to explain something I maybe want to try or see if mom wants to try. I can kind of point to it and show. Labor progress. If labor is stalling for any reason, we can kind of troubleshoot with this. Also, I've used it out of birth to, we wanted to use the breast pump instead of Pitocin to try to get things going. When labor had kind of stalled. So the hospital didn't have a policy regarding that, so I kind of showed them in this book what the book recommended that we do, and since it was like from another source and not out of the mouth of a doula, they said, great, go ahead and do that. So it's been useful with hospital staff and having me like suggest something to the parents, and the parents want to do it, and then having the hospital staff get on board. So that's been awesome. I went with a couple doulas to a hospital locally, and we took a lot of pictures in a birthing room or a labor room of different positions, and we had a mom and a doula and a dad The woman in the pictures is not really pregnant, she's actually a doula, but we kind of, and I was a photographer, so we kind of do different positions in the book. And so I take this to prenatals and kind of give mom and dad more ideas of things that they could try and think about. And then also it's been really useful in the hospital if we want to try something, we can show the nurse, like, this is what we want to do, would that be all right? And so I really, really like this. Tennis balls.
Balls!
You want to play with the ball?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
You're welcome. I have some birth affirmations. They're laminated in a bag. Sometimes women want things like this, and I send this set of affirmations out to the moms who are interested so that they can read over them when they're pregnant, figure out the ones they like, and then they can have them in their labor as well if they want to. And I have a comb. You can kind of put it in the hand and grab it. You want to brush your hair with the comb?
Yes.
You do? Look, you have a comb right here.
Oh.
There you go. So, gate control theory, you kind of just distract yourself. It's a distraction. So I have a couple combs. Let's see. I have a set of cards about different things we can do with the Bozo that I showed you. So again, that's something good for parents. I have a unscented lotion. This is it. And when I'm on call, I'll actually keep my bag in my car, and winter's coming up, so I don't really carry massage lotions or oils, except for this little thing because it'll probably freeze in my car. So I make sure I ask the parents to bring whatever they want. That way, one, if it is scented, it'll be a scent they like, and two, it won't be frozen when we get to the hospital. So I prefer coconut oil, and that's what I suggest to parents. And I take some to a prenatal, and I give them like a little massage in their legs and their hands, so they can see what it feels like, and then if they like it, usually they'll go out and buy it. I also have this little massage roller. Really like this one, easy to clean too. It's good also for counter pressure, just like the tennis balls. And I have a folder for every client. I have a little packet full of books I have in my lending library. If I do lend out a book from my library, I have mom and dad write me a check for the amount that it would cost to replace it. And then if they decide to keep it, or that I don't get it back for some reason, then I cash the check. So I just hang on to the check either until they decide they want to keep it, or until I get the book back. That way I don't lose books and money. I also keep my contract in here, and then also a release form that allows me to take notes on the mom and dad and baby. So that's the folder that I have, and then my chart. This is what the chart looks like for every couple that I have. And I'm not going to go through my whole chart, but I really like it bound like this because then I'm not losing papers. But I have just all like my history stuff, and then there's a section actually for, I have a notes section. Alright, so this is the one that gets used in labor. It's from Donna. So anytime mom's checked, you write here, and then any interventions or anything, you can kind of write down the times everything happens. And then from here, I usually can write a birth timeline between this and the notes that I take about everything that happened. And then I have postpartum stuff in here. I have this, which shows like positions with an epidural if mom would decide to do that. I have a handout in here about belly mapping, and I give this to the parents too, so they can kind of figure out how baby might be lying in the belly. And then I have these in here. They're the same pictures that were in that book, but for me, if I need to try to think of something, this might jog my memory of something I might have otherwise forgotten. So in this front little pocket here. What's the matter? You want this?
Yes.
There you go. I do take some essential oils to births. I have this little thing with a few oils. I use doTERRA oils. I don't want to take big containers because if something were to get spilled, I mean, each one of these bottles only has a few drops. So, and I do take these to prenatals and let moms tell me what they like. And if there's something they really like, I might bring the big bottle. So here I have, this is like my birthy one. That is actually on my keychain all the time because they're just oils we use. I do have an oil to dilute the other oils in case anything happens. So I have fractionated coconut oil, peppermint oil, lavender oil, clary sage, Digestin, which is for like nausea, and then the other three are not for birth, but it's Soleil, Melaleuca, and On Guard. But the first ones I said definitely can be used at a birth. Ibuprofen for me. I usually take a few of these whips. They're a quick way to brush your teeth. I usually have about 4 to 6 of them, so if mom gets sick, I can give her one. Or if I've been to a 42-hour birth, so I've used them before. Not a bad thing to have in your bag. I usually will have a pen or two. I try to keep some bars. Yeah. You already had one. Some kind of snacky food for me, and then I always have honey sticks for mom, for me, for dad, anybody who needs some extra sugar and calories, and honey is considered a clear fluid, so I make sure I load my bag full of those. And I have, you can see the last birth week. This is a full bag of them, and then we only had 2 left after the last birth I was at. So, okay, here's my peanut ball. I do have one of these. There's research showing how it can be used if a mom gets an epidural to kind of still shorten the length of labor when they do have to be in bed. You can do some things with putting a leg over here, helping rock the pelvis a little bit when mom is not able to move herself. So I usually have this in my trunk, and if mom does get an epidural, and which hasn't happened yet at a birth I've been to, but if I do have to use this, the kids play with it now, but if I use it at a birth, it will no longer be a toy. And if mom and dad tell me they're bringing their own birth ball, I'll take this to their house and make sure it's properly inflated. This is just a little pump. If they're going to use the one at the hospital, I throw this in the bag, and then because historically, you want to try?
Yes.
Historically, the birth balls at the hospitals are very, very underinflated. So I take it, and then I usually ask the nurses, like, is it all right if I put a little more air in this ball? And it's not been a problem, but it definitely helps mom. So just depending on where the birth ball is coming from, that may also be in my bag. And I think, I'm looking around, but I think that's it. This camera also goes with me in my little camera bag here. I usually do keep some mints in here, so that goes with me. And then also I put a little bag in this bag of a change of clothes for me, some hair ties, some chapstick, just those kinds of things for me in the event that I was there a long time or something happened to my clothes I needed to change. So just depending on how far away my car is parked, I might leave that bag in the car or I'll just throw it in here. So that's what I take to prenatals and births. I would say a majority of this stuff is used at prenatals and not in the birth room. Usually just talking to mom, using your hands. And the Bozo, I definitely have used that at births, but the other things I haven't really used. But the parents really like to see them and get their hands on them at the prenatals. I think it helps them feel like there are definitely tools that they can use if they need them or want them. So that's what's in my doula bag. If any of you guys, I know some of you who watch our doulas, if you have a doula bag and you want to share some of your ideas or things you like or things you don't like, let me know, or post a reply to this, because I would really be interested to see what other doulas have. So thanks for watching, guys. Bye.